And our first witness, Trevor Schaefer, youth ambassador and founder of Trevor's Trek Foundation, has been such an inspiration to me personally and to so many people, and inspired me to work with Senator Crapo on this legislation. So we're honored to have you. Trevor, you have 5 minutes, but if you go over a couple of minutes, that's fine. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Boxer. I would also like to thank Ranking Member James Inhofe and my great Senator Mike Crapo for taking on the issue of childhood cancer and cancer clusters and what they mean to our public health. I would also like to thank all of the senators on the Environment and Public Works Committee for allowing me to address some of these issues today. And I'm so very proud to be able to state that I am here today as a witness for both the majority and minority committee members. Most of you do not know me other than I am associated with S76, also known as Trevor's Law. My hope is that by the end of my testimony, you will not only know me, but you will remember me as the voice of every child in this great nation. As you've been told, I was diagnosed with brain cancer at the age of 13. Until that time, I was thriving in McCall, a small town nestled on the banks of a glacial lake in the beautiful mountains of Idaho. I really had a fairy tale life in paradise. But the carefree days of my childhood changed abruptly and dramatically after my cancer diagnosis. Like a snap of the fingers, I was robbed of my childhood and my innocence. I was thrown into the antiseptic world of hospitals in 8-hour brain surgery, followed by 14 grueling months of radiation and chemotherapy treatment. Unfortunately, I was not the only kid in my town with this pernicious disease. In the same year that I was diagnosed, there were 4 other cases of brain cancer diagnosed. Over a 10-year period, there was an abnormally high number of cancer cases diagnosed there before and after I became ill. What happened in my town continually repeats itself throughout our nation, year in and year out. According to the CDC, 46 children per day, 2 classrooms full, are being diagnosed with cancers unrelated to genetics or family history. As Trevor's Law states, cancer is the second leading cause of death among children, exceeded only by accidents. Many of us young cancer survivors will forever face chronic health challenges resulting from the heroic medical measures used to save our lives. Children who have had cancer often experience confusion and embarrassment as they try to return to a so-called normal life and are dealing with the physical side effects related to their cancer and treatment. I can attest to that. Several years ago, when cancer struck me, I fought so hard for my life. I fought through the countless number of needle pricks, the blood transfusions, nausea, vomiting, and physical therapy so I could live to see the sunrise and the snow fall. I'm so grateful to be alive. Still, the aftermath from the cancer treatments that I have endured have affected me in many disturbing ways. Every morning, I wake up with a ringing in my ear, which never stops. I have trouble with my memory, and I may never be able to have children of my own. How ironic that I fought so hard to save my own life, yet now I may never be able to give life. And senators, I'm considered one of the success stories. Although there has been a significant increase in the cure rate of childhood cancer, Children still are getting sick at an increasingly steady rate. In small towns throughout our country, possible cancer clusters exist. Parents are trying to get authorities to investigate these clusters and to discern what caused the disease patterns. Scientists and health activists say that the government's current response to disease clusters ranges from piecemeal to non-existent. Some people are told that their small populations render them statistically insignificant. There's nothing insignificant about even one child diagnosed with cancer and then dying of that cancer without ever knowing why. Trevor's Law seeks to rectify that by allowing people in small communities to have their voices heard and their concerns validated about the environmental impact on their children's health. Environmental toxin exposure is insidious in all instances, yet it affects our children in greater proportion than adults. Children are more vulnerable to chemical toxins than adults because they have faster metabolisms and less mature immune systems. According to Dr. Sandra Steingreber, we are seeing more brain tumors in 4-year-olds, ovarian cancer in adolescent girls, and testicular cancer in adolescent boys. These cancers are rising rapidly, and of course, children do not drink, smoke, or hold stressful jobs. We therefore cannot really evoke lifestyle explanations. There are no good familial links that we know of. We are beginning to recognize that not only prenatal life, but adolescent life is a time of great vulnerability to cancer-causing chemicals, when the connection between health and the environment becomes even more important. Toxins migrate right through geographical boundaries and property lines. Cancer spares no ethnic group, no socioeconomic group, nor any geographical area. In its wake, we are left with the burden of extreme personal and social loss. I would also like to stress that cancer does not only attack the victim, it greatly impacts every member of the family. Siblings often experience concern, fear, jealousy, guilt, resentment, and feelings of abandonment, which can last long term. Relationships between family members can become tense, there can be stress on a marriage, and oftentimes a family breaks up. I vowed that if I survived, I would dedicate my life to helping other children with cancer who otherwise would never be heard. I truly believe that I have been given a second chance at life to convey to you the urgency and importance of addressing the proliferation of childhood cancer clusters and the methods of reporting them. For the children, I strongly encourage your support for Trevor's Law. In closing, I would ask you to consider how much your child or grandchild's life and well-being are worth to you. And while you're doing that, please close your eyes for a brief moment and imagine a world without children. Thank you.
Thank you. Aaron Brockovich, who is such a fighter for people who did nothing wrong and suffered. And I'm welcoming you. And Trevor, you touched our hearts deeply, and I thank you.